were to discuss problem solving as a leader, it will take, I would say, really a large chunk. It may be a different module altogether. But in general, in ways for us to be able to problem solve, we have steps. And this is also essential in management skills. So if you want to take a picture or just glance through this, there are 7 steps to effectively problem solve questions. And we all know this and found out about this in science back in grade school. Diba? So first is to identify the problem. Second step is to analyze. You can also describe the problem. And you actually don't know that you do this. It's just that you don't know in detail. But you always do this by practice. When a problem comes in, sometimes you pause first and check, diba? Nag-iisip ka. Wait, ano ba yung problema? Diba? Sige nga, pag-usapan natin. Diba? Ano yung nangyari? Ayan. So those are the steps actually, diba? And then you look at for root causes. Oh, bakit sila nag-away? Ano yung rason? Bakit sila nagte-textan? Diba? And especially for Liz. Oh, this is where Liz comes in. Miss Liz, nag-away po si employee A, employee B. Diba? So these are ways where you can, the steps that you can take. Step 5 is develop alternate solutions. Now, there are 2 things. There are the temporary solution and the long-term solution. I'm a firm believer of being a proactive person. Minsan to a fault. Yung hindi na dapat iniisip, pero iniisip ko pa rin. Ganun ako sa husband ko eh. Dalhin natin yung cooler. Bakit? Wala naman tayong bibilin. Hindi. Kaysa mamroblema tayo later on, dalhin mo na. Diba? So I'm proactive that way. And as leaders, you have to be proactive than reactive. Unfortunately, in the Philippines, we are always reactive. Just case in point, when the pandemic struck, I have nothing against the government. They're always like that. Diba? So step 5, when you develop alternate solutions, always think of 2 things. The temporary solution, if you don't have the time, is a temporary solution. And another solution is the long-term solution. And this is on an HR perspective, very important. Because you want to be proactive, thinking of the problem and the solution to the problem before it even happens. Number 6, implement the solution. And step 7 is measure result. So that you know if your solution is effective. Diba? Does that make sense? All right. Okay. So these are just tools. Okay. You have the first tool is the root cause analysis tool. Okay. No. This pala is the 5 whys. 5 whys. Problem, why? Why? Okay, so we're not going to go through them in detail, but this is one tool that you can use. So the 5 whys is 1. Yes, Terence.
I just have a question about, since we talked about leadership styles, what if you have a different leadership style from your boss, and somehow it doesn't jive? He has his way. You have your way. Sometimes it's okay, but sometimes it's not. It clashes. What's the best way to go about it? Yeah.
So first is identify the type of leader that he is. Of course, you cannot ask him, can you take a leadership test? Diba? Hindi naman natin pwedeng ganunin. Pero check mo. How is he as a leader? Is he the type who would delegate? Analyze. Is he the type who will just tell me what to do? Diba? You really have to sit down and analyze his personality. Now, he is still the boss. So what you can do is capitalize on his strengths as a leader. So if you know already that he's the type who would want things done right away, then you know that you have to be a proactive employee or staff. Diba? But if he's a type who medyo is lenient, medyo encourages collaboration, then you know that you can probably be more suggestive of your ideas if that's how he is. Um, that's why I always say there's only one leader. So if your boss is like that, and you're not the boss, he is the boss. So you just have to be a follower. So you cannot really be, hindi mo siya pwedeng banggain. Kasi at the end of the day, he is still the boss.
Correct. That's what
So,
sorry, that's what I realized as well. There are certain things kasi na he wants done in a certain way. There are certain things that I want done in a certain way. But at the end of the day, he's the boss.
He's still the boss, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Naparealize ka doon.
Yeah, kasi when we were talking about leadership and management, I wanted to see understand myself. Ano ba talaga ang gusto kong mangyari? Am I a leader or am I a manager like that? Because as I've mentioned last time, I see myself as a leader, more of a leader than a manager. But yeah, kasi if you yeah, that's why I also asked you last time, if there are different leaders in a company, I think it would be chaotic. Kasi nga, different leaders, you're driven You're driven to do different things. It depends. If those two leaders are aligned, then that's good. But if they're not aligned, if they have different perspectives, it's either they compromise or they go separate ways or they clash.
Yeah.
Diba? Yun. Yeah. So that's I think, yeah, that's one of the things that we need to improve on as well.
Yes.
Yes. And talking about, you mentioned earlier that just like what Jewel said, it really depends on his mood. Sometimes he would be collaborative. Minsan naman, you know that he's going a certain direction. He's just asking for some for some ideas, pero you already know that it's gonna be shot down, something like that. Yeah. Minsan naman wala. He just asks you to do this, do that. Yeah. So it really depends. It really depends on his mood.
But that's how your leader is. You really cannot change it, you know. I've been in that situation. I already told you of my former boss who he gets swayed easily, and I was so freaking, I would get upset kasi parang, ay hindi, ito na lang. Ay hindi, ganito na lang. Diba? And he couldn't decide. And again, it's to the expense of all our time because he gets swayed easily. And to me, my old self would say, you know what, I don't need it. I don't need this kind of leader. And even if he went against my beliefs, he was still the boss. Siya pa rin yung head ko. He still has to say on my existence in this company. So I will just have to follow what he wanted. And it's important also boils down to, it's important to work for a company where you have the same vision and where you have the same thoughts and beliefs. And I'm not saying that you resign if there's one red flag. I'm just simply saying that work for a company that inspires you. Work for a company that you are happy with. And that's why I resigned, because there were some things that are going against my belief. And you will eventually find that. You will find that nice spot and settle and say, you know what, I love this company and I love what I'm doing. So if your leader, kung hindi naman siya deal breaker, then, you know, we really just have to follow because he is the boss. But if you have the opportunity to voice out your thoughts, then that's a good thing. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So here's another tip, another tool for problem solving, which is root cause analysis. It may be like when you see the diagram, root cause analysis 3, but this also helps, where you have the apparent problem and then the symptoms. What did I see? You know, what was happening? What did I observe? And then you go through the possible root cause, and then, you know, para rin siyang why, 5 whys. Why? Another one is the fishbone diagram, where ito naman, this specifically works for factories and the manufacturing manufacturing businesses. While the other two, the first one that we have more on the servicing industries. Okay. And then this is a sample of the fishbone diagram where they discuss the people, the material, method, and machine, if it's applicable. And usually the fishbone diagram also does the nitty-gritty of the problem. It kind of breaks down everything also. So these tools in problem solving, you may or may not be using them, but it's nice to review them every now and then to see and check how you can solve certain problems. Because sometimes ang problema hindi rin nasusolve kapag dampot-dampot lang yung ideas and solution. Yung walang science behind it. So what happens, especially in the Filipino setting, is just tapal-tapal lang. Diba? You don't really solve the problem, you just temporarily do something about it, but then the problem occurs again. It keeps happening again, and that's not really solving it.